Welcome to Monday, August 25th, Break the Board Sports, where we go through all your handicapping betting trends, angles, helping you become a better handicapper. Again, you can always click that like down there. We truly appreciate it. Our team, visit us at breaktheboardsports.com. Right now, you can go get all of our football notes along with all of our football plays this year and get that for $1.37 a day for the whole 365 days a year. $500 for that. Again, only $1.37 a day. Now, hopping right in, college football this past weekend. It was a rough one. I got to tell you, Kansas State, the head coach blew that one. Iowa State wins 24-21. They cover the 3.5 by winning outright. There were some threes there, but the game was really decided when Kansas State got the interception in the second quarter, deep in Iowa State territory inside the 20. 3rd and 1, run the ball straight up the middle. 4th and 1, run the ball straight up the middle. This whole thing, I don't understand it. Everybody's piled up in the middle, and yet you want to run it up the middle. If you're going to do up the middle, do the tush push. The Eagles have given the secret sauce, but a horrible play call from Kansas State. Their whole team, their whole offense is predicated on Avery Johnson getting him out on the edge. The fact that there was no RPO there or nothing to speak of was an absolute disaster. At that point, I knew we were cooked. So that was a loss for us. Iowa State getting the outright win as the dog barked in that game. Another dog that was barking, Idaho State. The line was around 24.5, ballooned all the way up to 30 in some spots right before kickoff. They fall to UNLV 38-31. If you're UNLV, not a very impressive win. Yes, you get the win, but to only beat Idaho State, an FCS school, by 7, and Idaho State putting up 31 against your defense. Dan Mullen and company there for the running Rebs got a lot to work on. So UNLV, they get the win. They do not go and get the cover. The total does go over there. So Dogs 2-0. Roll to Kansas, Fresno State. E.J. Warner and Fresno State looked like they were going to hang in there. And then Jalen Daniels, him and Kansas exploded. They get the win 31-7. They cover the line. That one bounced all around, anywhere from 12.5 to 14.5, depending on where you shop for your shoes. Kansas got the win there. So now they'll go home to host Wagner. Fresno State, they will go home as a 1-point favored over Georgia Southern this coming weekend. We'll run down through all the lines and trends coming up. Sam Houston State in Western Kentucky, another tough loss for us. We had the under 61.5. The game lands on 65. Western Kentucky with a fourth quarter touchdown there. They get the win 41-24, and they also covered the 10.5 there. So that last touchdown, if you were back in the Hilltoppers, got you to win. If you had the over, it put you over the total there. So but we ended the night on a win, and at least it was on a good note, which catapulted us yesterday in baseball. Yesterday we had the Dodgers, cash. We had the Yankees on the double unit, cash. But Hawaii, man, what an awesome game. And I sat there saying I really thought that Hawaii was the right side, but I was scared because the more and more I listened, the more and more I studied, it was so obvious Hawaii, but the line flipped. Stanford went from a 2-point favorite to a 2.5-point dog. And I was just worried about it. It was a setup. Hawaii, though, comes through late. They get the win 23-20 and a big cover for us. So we end the weekend 1-2, not the way we wanted to end it, but hey, always about transparency here. So we look ahead to this coming week in college football. And it's going to be a doozy. Starts Thursday afternoon. Just run down through some highlighted games and some betting spreads and trends. Now, it's totally free if you go to breaktheboardsports.com. We have quick hitter notes. So what we do, and those will start getting loaded in late tonight, every single game, you'll have somewhere between 8 to 15 little quick hitter notes you can print off or just save it on your app that you can look at and do your own handicapping. Don't have to pay for none, don't have to do nothing. You can just listen to us here on the show, click a like and subscribe, and then print off your notes so you can do your own handicapping. We take some of the best places that do this, right? Whether it's Covers, Action Network, VSiN, all the other things, stuff I study on my own along with AJ and Robin. We put that all in one big thing for you. So, and we just give you the most notes that can help you, whether you're an over-under better, you're a first quarter better, you're a spread better, you're a money line better. That way you can pick and choose, hey, this is going to help me with my handicapping to help you make money. Again, it's all about this year being the best football season ever for yourself. Also, Average Joe contest will be in that this year, along with the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. So I'll be putting some stuff out there. Again, love your questions if you bring those in. But let's roll through college football. Again, these quick hitter notes will start coming out tomorrow, late tonight tomorrow. First one, we're going to kick off Thursday, Boise State at South Florida. Right now, the line is held. Boise State laying 6.5 on the road. 77% of the bets are on Boise State. 23% of bets on South Florida. The handle's a whole lot tighter, though. 60% of the handle, Boise State. 40% South Florida. Listen, I got to tell you, I think Boise State, we know they're going to be good. We know they're going to be in the hunt for the college football playoff. They're going to win the Mountain West, especially what I saw from UNLV this weekend. So Boise State's going to be there. They run a great program, but let's not act like this is the same Boise State team as last year. They're not as good. I know quarterback Mark Madsen is back, but losing Genty is a huge, huge loss. And this is a little bit of a trap game. South Florida ended the season on a roll, and now you're going down. You're going from Boise State to that heat in South Florida. I played it earlier when it was 7.5. I would still tell you, I know some people hate this or whatever, but I'm about winning bets. I'm not about beating to, this number, that number. I'll lay $1.25 buying a point to get the number I want. I think that's a good way to look at this with South Florida again and plus 7.5. If you can get South Florida plus a touchdown, listen, I think the Bulls are live here. I think they're live. Again, that heat, you can't practice for that. South Florida, that program keeps getting a little bit better. And Boise State, while I think they're going to be good, they're not going to be the same team they were last year. They're just not. So, again, something to look at there. Your over-under in that game sets at 63.5. Right now, bets about even, but the handle 65% to the under, 35% to the over. Ohio and Rutgers will hook up. Rutgers laying 14 with Coach Greg Schiano. 70% of tickets and 82% are on the Scarlet Knights, so it's all Rutgers all the time. An interesting game. East Carolina travels to NC State. NC State has a lot of people that transferred out. Right now they're laying 12. 61% of tickets on the Wolfpack. 39% of the tickets on East Carolina. The money 60-40 in favor of the Pirates. Jacksonville State will travel to University of Central Florida. Central Florida laying 18.5. Right now, they're getting 64% of bets, 76% of the handle, 36% of bets, and 24% of the handle goes to Jacksonville State. Wyoming will visit Akron. Wyoming will be laying 7 on the road. Everything about even money and handle there. Buffalo, this game has dropped a point. Last night, Buffalo at Minnesota. Minnesota was laying 18.5. It's down to 17.5. 66% of bets to the Golden Gophers, 34% of bets to the Bulls of Buffalo, and your money 53% to Buffalo, 47% to Minnesota. This one, going to be a good one. Again, Matt Rule, we know what he does in his third year. It's like clockwork in college. Did it with Temple, did it with Baylor. Year 3 now with the Cornhuskers. Does him and Dylan Raiola take the next step? I feel like they're going to have a good year, but a sneaky game week 1 here. Sneaky. Laying 6.5. The line's been frozen, hasn't moved despite 82% of bets being on Nebraska. 96% of the handle on Nebraska. Nobody's betting Cincinnati. Not even alumnus of Cincinnati are betting Cincinnati. Be very, very careful. I almost feel like they're begging you to lay it with Nebraska. Again, could be wrong, but after 21 years of doing this, this is what I would call a deep fishy line for sure. You're over under 53.5, 62% of the bets to the over, 38% of bets to the under. Wisconsin, they'll host the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Wisconsin laying 17.5, and that's your Thursday slate. Again, All of Thursday's games will be loaded tonight and tomorrow morning, so you can get a jump on it, start doing your handicapping, breaktheboardsports.com. You can also click on our football package. You can even try it out for a month, $64.99. Flipping over to Friday, another slew of games. Again, you got college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Going to be a great Labor Day weekend. Appalachian State and Charlotte will lock up. App State laying 7. Now, this one, App State getting 70% of the tickets, 30% of the tickets to Charlotte, but it's totally flip-flopped on the handle. Charlotte's getting 70% of the handle, 30% of the handle going to App State. So this is a typical pros versus Joes matchup here. The public is on App State. The sharps are on Charlotte, that's for sure. Kennesaw State and Wake Forest. Wake Forest laying 17.5, and they're the overwhelming favorite. Western Michigan will travel to Michigan State. This line has jumped 3 points over the weekend. It was 18.5. It's now setting at 21.5. 75% of tickets and 78% of the cabbage on the Michigan State of Sparty. Auburn Baylor, best game on the board Friday night to start anyway. You have SEC versus Big 12. Both of these teams expected to make a big jump. Definitely Hugh Freeze and Auburn's going to need to show some movement. Dave Aranda always does a great job down there with the Baylor Bears. Auburn laying 2.5. This line hasn't moved. 72% of tickets go to the Auburn Tigers, 28% of the tickets to the Baylor Bears. But the money split 51% Auburn, 49% Baylor. So almost dead even. I don't think you're going to see this line move either way at this point. The over-under 57.5 is the same way. 51% over, 49% under. I don't think you're going to see any movement there either. Coach Prime in Colorado, what do they look like without Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter? We're going to find out. They host Georgia Tech. This one was 4, went down to 3.5. Now it's back to 4. The Yellow Jackets laying 4 on the road, and it's all Yellow Jackets at the counter right now. 70% of the tickets on the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech and 76% of the money. So the only people betting Colorado are Buffalo's alumni. That's about it. Everybody on Georgia Tech here, I can't say I blame them, but one rule I have personally, I don't lay points on the road. If I'm going to take a road favorite, it's got to be on the money line. I'm not laying points on the road. You lay points on the road, you'll be sleeping with a park bench. UNLV, again, they just struggled against Idaho State at home. Now they got to travel to Sam Houston State. It'll be interesting. Can Dan Mullen fix that defense within a week? I don't know if he can. UNLV laying 10. This has dropped a 1.5. They were laying 11.5 before this weekend shenanigans. That line is down to 10. Despite that, 73% of tickets still on UNLV, 27% on the comeback for Sam Houston State. The money about even. UNLV 46%, Sam Houston State actually getting a little bit more of this money at 54%. Your over-under set at 60.5. Have to share this one. Bets, 71% of bets to the over, 29% to the under, but it gets even better. 99% of the handle is on the over, 1%. So that's got to be like 5 tickets in the whole world are set to the under 60.5. The way these defenses looked this past weekend, I don't know how you could go under in this one, but that doesn't mean I'm racing to bet the over either. Central Michigan at San Jose State. The Spartans will be laying 11.5 Friday night. That game will go off at 11:30. 61% of tickets to San Jose State, 39% to the Chippewas of Central Michigan. We head to Saturday, and let's talk about the big one. This line is dropped, went from 2.5 to 1.5. Ohio State will be hosting Texas. We'll have a big short coming up on Wednesday. That short's going to focus on 3 games. It's going to focus on the 3 games featuring top 10 teams. So it'll have Texas, Ohio State, have LSU, Clemson, we'll have Notre Dame, Miami. We'll focus on those 3 games for about 30 minutes and just nothing but betting trends, right? Nothing about players and breaking down the game, just betting statistical angles to help your handicap. And again, remember, in handicapping, some of it's what you see with your eyes, but it's way more about numbers and trends and angles and matchups way before it is. Again, if everybody could pick winners, no guy would go to work on Mondays, and there'd be some ladies that wouldn't be going to work on Mondays. They'd just be betting games. But when I look around, there's a whole lot of people working today. So that means everybody just bets during Saturday and Sunday, and they don't do anything throughout the week. They just take off of last week and recency bias and try to make a bet. Again, that's why the books typically win. You got to get with somebody that knows how to help you and give you information to help you be a better handicapper. That's what we do at breaktheboardsports.com. But anyway, this one has dropped to 1.5. Everything about even. Texas getting 53% of tickets. The Buckeyes getting 47% of the tickets. 59% of the handle goes to the way of the Longhorns. 41% to Ohio State. Again, I think the biggest thing here, Texas, neither Texas or Ohio State, both of them lost a ton, right? Like we keep talking about Texas, number one team in the country. They lost a lot of pieces as well. I know everybody's excited about Arch Manning. I don't think he'll crack under the pressure. I think he'll be solid. I don't think he'll be overwhelmed. I don't think Mannings get overwhelmed, just not in their blood. But the horseshoe is an extremely, extremely hard place to play. This is a tough road game to start out. I think this is going to be much more of a defensive heavyweight fight. I think you'll see some big-time plays, maybe Smith over the top for Ohio State. Ohio State got a ton of questions at quarterback. Again, we're going to break this game down more, but when I look at it, the Longhorns on the road got a tall task. First time in history, a AP number one team is an underdog in week one. Now, your over-under, it has dropped significantly. If you wanted the under, you're a little late to the party. It opened up at 51. You're at 47.5 right now. 77% of tickets to the over, 23% of tickets to the under, and then the money pretty much dead even. 51% of the money to the under, 49% to the over. I think just personally looking at this, it just screams. Pros are saying the game's going to go under. Kind of like I said, a heavyweight slugfest. Public's looking at it, Arch Manning, Ohio State, that this game's going to fly over. I think you're going to see the ball ran a whole lot more than people are expecting. But again, can't wait to get into this one. Look for Wednesday's drop on that. Tennessee and Syracuse, they'll hook up in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome early on Saturday. Right now, Tennessee, a 14-point favorite. They're getting 73% of tickets, 64% of the handle, 27% of the tickets, and 36% of the handle goes to the Orange of Syracuse. Purdue, they get new coach Barry Odom from UNLV comes over. Purdue has a long way to go. He's got his hands full rebuilding that thing, but he'll start out with Ball State laying 17.5. Florida Atlantic will visit Maryland. Maryland laying 14.5. Maryland getting 75% of the tickets, but only 49% of the money. Again, when I look at that, Florida Atlantic, 25% of tickets, 51% of money. I think the pros here like the Owls to hoot at Maryland. Again, Maryland hasn't did well. This will be out on Tuesday. Maryland has not did well as a double-digit home favored trending. So just a couple things we'll have for you to look at that. Then you can make your own decision. We'll make some cases for Maryland. We'll make some cases for Florida Atlantic. Help you be a better handicapper. Northwestern, they'll visit Tulane. Tulane, this was 6.5. It's dropped a point now down to 5.5 at DraftKings. Now, this is total opposite flip here. 63% of tickets to Tulane, but only 33% of money. 37% of tickets to the Wildcats. 67% of money. Remember, your boy RJ said when you see something like that, that should be an automatic trigger. Hey, that's a pros Joe's game, right? Pros really like Northwestern on the road. Tulane, they graduated some people, some big-time producers. So it'll be interesting to see how that line kind of moves as it goes. Mississippi State laying 11.5 on the road to Southern Miss. A little interstate rivalry there. That should be fun. That'll be like a Super Bowl for Southern Miss. Mississippi State, they'll just be wanting to get out of there with a win, considering that tough, grueling SEC schedule they got to encounter. Toledo at Kentucky, this line has dropped a point. Kentucky was laying 8.5. It's now down to 7.5. 70% of tickets on the Wildcats of Kentucky, 30% of tickets on the Rockets of Toledo. Old Dominion, they'll travel to Indiana, and all the bets and all the money are on the Hoosiers after their impressive run to the college football playoff last year. Indiana laying 22.5, again, 85% of bets, 82% of the handle. Nevada against Penn State. Some think Penn State are the best team in the country. I happen to be one of those. Do I think they'll finish there? No, because as a Penn State and Notre Dame fan, have been since I was a little kid, both of them break my heart every single chance they get. But this one should be an easy one. But I wouldn't lay 44.5. I can tell you that right now. Big spreads like that, you got to be careful of. Too many options with a backdoor cover. But I do think Penn State rolls. Nevada's going to have a hard time scoring on Penn State. It'll be interesting to see if Nevada can even get in the end zone in this game. Temple at UMass. I don't think anybody wants to watch this game. It was 3. It's now down to Temple laying 2.5. Marshall at Georgia. The Bulldogs will be laying 39.5 to kick off their season. Marshall absolutely gutted. Head coach took off for Southern Miss and took about every person on campus, including the water boy. Marshall, total rebuild here. This is a horrible way for them to start. Georgia's going to roll for sure. 76% of tickets, 83% of the money. I'm not saying I'd lay 39.5, but there is no shot here for the Herd to even stay within 4 touchdowns. That's for sure. Covering the spread, whole different story. Another game I'm completely curious about as the week goes on this week and we get to Thursday and Friday. Does this game touch 14.5? And it's Alabama on the road at Florida State. Again, going to get into this one tomorrow, but I got to tell you, Alabama laying 13.5, and they're getting 90% of the tickets, 93% of the handle. Everybody loves the Crimson Tide. Everybody loves them to make a college football playoff. Florida State, such a horrible season last year, but they get the transfer quarterback in from Boston College. I think that changes things for them a lot. Florida State, it's now or never. Mike Norvell, if he does not have a good year, he's out. He's gone, right? Which if that happens, I would say, I know everybody talks about Prime in Colorado. I've said this all the time. Best thing Florida State could ever do is bring Coach Prime back to his alma mater. He would own the state of Florida recruiting if the school was in Florida. But I do think Florida State's going to put up a fight. Now, can they cover the number? That's a whole different story. Alabama, much better on both sides of the ball. But all the money and all the tickets, and that line is froze. I mean, it has stayed at 13.5 since the very open. So I'll just be interested. I can't see a lot of people hopping on Florida State, and for good reason, right? I mean, really the only thing they got going for them is it's at home. But like Alabama, I just want to see how this line moves, see where it takes us. I got a feeling that the money's going to keep coming in on Alabama, but that 13.5 is going to stay steadfast there. The Chanticleers at Coastal Carolina will travel to UVA. UVA will be laying 11.5. Another game, Texas San Antonio travels to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is laying 22.5, 87% of tickets and 78% of money on the Aggies at Texas A&M. Now, interstate game. This is a big game for Texas San Antonio. Texas A&M, obviously the better team. It's obviously in College Station. But Texas A&M, will they be overlooking the Roadrunners with a Week 2 rematch, but at South Bend against Notre Dame? Remember, Notre Dame last year opened up the season at College Station and beat Texas A&M late. Is Texas A&M more focused on Week 2 Notre Dame, or are they really going to come out and take care of business against the Roadrunners? That's an interstate rivalry game, the way the Roadrunners look at it there at Texas San Antonio. So it'll be interesting to see. I would say if the line crept up another 2 points, I think that almost forces you to look at the Roadrunners if you can get 24. Definitely something to think about. Again, non-official play. We'll give out 2 free plays on Thursday's show. And then again, if you want all of our plays, college, pro, MLB, everything, 365 days of plays for $500. BreakTheBoardSports.com. It works out to be $1.37 a day. And again, give us a like here. We break down, give you all the betting analysis you need. The Lobos of New Mexico visit Michigan. Michigan will be laying 36.5. UTEP at Utah State. Utah State will be laying 6. Missouri State hops up to play USC. Definitely punching above their weight class. USC laying 35.5, 77% of tickets and 85% of money are on the Trojans. The other big one to close out Saturday night, LSU Tigers against Clemson Tiger. Which Tiger has the biggest roar? We're going to find out. This one was at 3, went to 3.5. Garrett Nussmeier with the injury and all that. The line is now at 4. So you got 2 Heisman hopefuls, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. Clemson returns the most productivity in the country from last year. Both of these guys are looking to be at the top of the Heisman race. Right now, 51% of bets to LSU, 49% of bets to Clemson, and your money is split 57-43. Again, we'll have this along with Texas, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, Miami. Big preview show where we're just focusing on those 3 games, and we'll go through every single trend. If you can, pull that up and catch it. If not, you can go to breaktheboardsports.com. Starting this afternoon, you'll start having notes trickle in. We'll start with Thursday's games, get all the way through Monday. Those betting notes help you handicap yourself. You don't have to pay for them. They're free for anybody to go. They're just quick hitter notes. It's not paragraphs where you got to read like a book. It's just a note, a note, a note. You guys don't have time to divulge into 2-3 different articles for one game. You're busy. You got jobs and all that. We try to make it as easy as possible for you here at breaktheboardsports.com. Eastern Michigan, Texas State. Texas State will lay 13.5. Rice at Louisiana Lafayette. Louisiana be laying 13.5. Georgia Southern versus Fresno. This game was 1.5. It's now dropped to 0.5. Hawaii at Arizona. Arizona laying 17.5. California at Oregon State. Oregon State will be laying 3. Colorado State at Washington. Washington will be laying 20.5. A lot of people like Washington as a sneaky pick to get in the college football playoff. I am not one of those people, but they're getting 72% of tickets and 75% of the handle. Utah goes on the road to UCLA. I'll be interested to see. This line is another one. It's 6. It's done, crept up to 6.5. Utah laying 6.5, getting 63% of the tickets. UCLA getting 37% of the tickets. But listen to this, 94% of the money is on Utah, 6% on UCLA. The books are going to need Utah. The books are going to need UCLA. Does that line hit 7? We'll find out. I don't know if it does, but it'll be very interesting to see as the week goes on. Does that line move a little bit to get it more palatable for you to take the Bruins of UCLA? Sunday, big games. You got 2 of them. Virginia Tech and South Carolina. They'll hook up at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. They're in Atlanta. South Carolina is up to a 7.5 point favorite. They're getting 86% of tickets compared to only 14 for the Hokies. 65% of the handle to South Carolina, only 35% to Virginia Tech. And then the big one for me, Notre Dame against Miami. Notre Dame laying 2.5 down in South Florida. 84% of tickets and 85% of the money to the Irish. I hope to God a lot of money comes in on the Miami Hurricanes, because I got to tell you, if the numbers stay like that, I'm going to feel really nervous. Miami here, if Miami can knock out Notre Dame, that catapults them, right? Beck coming over from Georgia, Mario Cristobal, trying to win the big game has not been proven to be something that he can do. This is a big game for Miami. CJ Carr announced the starting quarterback for Notre Dame. Notre Dame, obviously, I think with Love at running back, he's a Heisman hopeful, and that defense is going to be great. It's all going to come down to the quarterback of Notre Dame, in my opinion, CJ Carr. And then the other thing is, how is Miami going to be able to slow down the run game of Notre Dame? If Miami can slow down the run game, right, and make the young quarterback beat them, and if Carson Beck can somehow just make 3-4 plays against that defense, that's going to be a top 5 defense in the country for the Irish. Miami, they got a puncher's chance for sure. They're not that far behind Notre Dame talent-wise. Mario Cristobal, Marcus Freeman, both of them, they make some real questionable decisions sometimes, that's for sure. But if I'm holding a Notre Dame ticket, I just do not feel comfortable if 84% of tickets and 85% of the money continues to lay on the Fighting Irish. So I'm hoping some hurricane money comes in from the public, or I'm going to be a little nervous about my Irish there just as a fan. I don't have anything on the game yet. Right now, your over-under for that game, 49.5, 54% of bets, and 54% of tickets to the over, 46% of tickets to the under. But it's all under all the time as far as the betting handle goes. 82% of the handle goes to the under, 18% to the over. And then Monday night, we'll see how Bill Belichick, with all the scrutiny he's been under with the girlfriend, Miss Hudson, and all the criticism he's taken, we're going to see what that looks like. TCU goes on the road to UNC. UNC is a 3.5-point home dog. They're getting 64% of the tickets, but only 32% of the money. 36% of tickets to TCU, 68% of the money. I want to see how those numbers work out. I think when we get to game time, I would expect it to be an overwhelming support for the Horned Frogs at TCU, but I could be wrong. To me, I have a hard time with Michael Lombardi, the GM, and Bill Belichick. And I know people's like, he brought both of his kids in. He's got this 24-year-old girlfriend, which, first of all y'all are hating. I have a hard time believing North Carolina doesn't hang this one close. Remember, a much better TCU team played Colorado and was supposed to be like all world and beat them up, and they got waxed, right? TCU, I'm not saying they're not a good program, but they're not the program of Gary Patterson, right? They're just different, right? So when I look at that, I think North Carolina is going to be able to hang around to this one. Again, we'll have betting notes. There will be a release on this one on Friday or Saturday. We'll do a quick little YouTube short. We'll be putting out a ton of YouTube shorts this week. Every week we have the Monday quarterback show at 10:30, and then we also have the look ahead show Thursdays at 11:30. But in there will be mixed in all that will be 2 to 3 shorts a day we put out there. Again, click us a like or a subscribe. We'd appreciate the support. Moving on, we get to Major League Baseball. Want to hit the standings real quick as we go through this. Toronto Blue Jays got a 5-game lead on the Boston Red Sox. 5.5 are the Yankees. Tigers up 10.5 on the Royals. 12.5 on the Guardians. Guardians have lost 5 in a row. Astros have a 2-game lead over the Mariners. As the Mariners and Astros, it'll be interesting to see how that comes down. Phillies have a 7-game lead over the Mets, but they've lost Zach Wheeler for not only this year, probably most of, not all of next year. Brewers 5-game lead over the Cubs. Dodgers and Padres, dead heat even. Dodgers got the win yesterday. We had the Dodgers out for all of our players, so that was a winner chicken dinner. But they don't meet each other again, and the Padres got an extremely much softer schedule than the Dodgers. So Padres at plus money to win this division might be a way to go. Looking at the wild card, Boston a game up on the Mariners. Yankees a half game up. Royals 3 games back. Rangers 4.5. Guardians 5. That's about where I'm going to cut it off. The Rays say 6.5, but I think the Rays are absolutely toast. Over to the National League. Cubs, they got a 6.5 game lead. They're good to go. Padres got a 4.5 game lead, or Dodgers. They're good to go. There's really only one spot up for grabs, and it's whether the New York Mets can hold off the Cincinnati Reds. Right now, the Mets got a 1.5 lead. 5.5 back are the D-backs and the Cardinals, but I can't make a case for either or one of them. I don't think there's anything you can look at there and take whatsoever. So let's hit the MLB slate because, again, Break the Board Sports, we give it all to you. Red Sox at the Orioles today. Red Sox are going to be laying $1.16, 102 minus 102 on the comeback for the Orioles. Brennan Bernardino will get the call for the Red Sox, 1-3 with a 0 ERA his last 5. 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs his last time out, July 2nd against the Reds. Again, a bullpen guy, not a typical starter. Tomoyaki Sugano, 5-0 with a 1.91 his last 5 starts. He faced Boston once earlier this year. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 0 earned. I love the home dog Orioles here. Something to always look at. Not saying every time, but when you have these real bitter rivalries where both teams are involved in playoff hunts. So think Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, Padres. It's always a good look to fade those teams the next day. Always a good look. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take the Baltimore Orioles and fade the Boston Red Sox here. They've split the last 5 games, or last 10 games rather, but the last 4 in a row have went to the Orioles. Sagano pitched very well against them earlier this year. This is a bullpen session for the Red Sox. They just got off a long winning streak versus the Yankees until that bubble bursted last night. I'm going to look to the Orioles here. Another one next on the docket, Tampa Bay Rays at the Cleveland Guardians. Now, this line has dropped. It opened up $1.48 for the Guardians. It's all the way down to $1.20 plus 102 on the comeback for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, they've split the last 10 meetings. They haven't played yet in 2025 at all. Ian Seymour will get his major league debut, the southpaw for the Rays today. For the Guardians, Tanner Bibee, 4-1 with a 6.15 his last 5. He's given up 4 runs in every start except 1 over his last 5. And against the Rays, he hasn't faced them since last year, where he went 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, and 9 strikeouts. This thing is dropped like a rock. Again, the Guardians have lost 5 in a row. Don't really want to get involved, but if I had to, it'd be Guardians or nothing. They're seeing their playoff hopes slip away after they had an absolutely phenomenal run to get back in the conversation. They've fallen off. Again, to me, it would be Guardians or nothing. Your over-under sets at 7.5 in this one, in this matchup. So again, we'll take the Orioles. We'll look at the Guardians, but not sure that I'm going to actually take a bite here on the Guardians. Next on the docket, the Atlanta Braves will travel to the Miami Marlins. Braves laying $1.12 at FanDuel, minus 104 on the comeback for the Marlins. Your over-under set at 7.5, minus 110 both ways. Braves have taken the last 3 in the series against the Marlins, and over the last 10, Braves have taken 6 out of the last 10. They'll send Spencer Strider, who I got to be honest, I hate to say this, but there's guys that throw batting practice for the home run derby that have a better ERA than him over the last 5. 1-4 with a 10.38 for Spencer Strider. Miami, they'll counter with Edward Cabrera, 2-3 with a 3.64. Cabrera faced Miami earlier this year, went 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, struck out 11 Bravos. Just an impressive performance for him. Strider hasn't faced the Marlins since he could pitch, which was in 2023. I feel like that's the last time we saw the good Spencer Strider. I'll take the home dog here and give them a run. Give me the Miami Marlins. I got the much better pitcher. To be honest, I got a team playing better baseball. I'll take the home team here at the short minus 104 price, almost even money. Our Lord and Savior Brad Lord will get the start against Carson Schlitter. Now, Yankees laying 235, comeback plus 195 on the Nats. You're over under 9, juiced minus 115 to the over. Again, for me, believe it or not, I would take Nationals or nothing. You say, John, the Yankees finally stopped the streak. Listen, they finally got the win against the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball after a long losing streak. They lost 8 in a row to Boston and Beantown. Yankees are back in good position as far as the wild card goes. They were kind of flailing a little bit. They've been playing better as of late. But again, I just like fading these teams, these rivalry teams the next day. But no play here. I'm just saying if I was going to lean, I would lean Nationals. The only official plays I got is the Orioles minus 102 and the Marlins minus 104, even though it's at the minus because everybody juices you out anymore. We'll take those 2 home dogs as they are the dogs in that. Nationals have taken 6 of the last 10 against the Yankees. Last year, they played a 4-game set in Washington. The Nats actually took 3 out of 4. So, again, I know the names don't match up. Oh, Yankees should crush the Nationals. Do we really think the Yankees should be laying 235 to anybody? And Lord has been red hot lately. So again, Nationals or nothing would be my lead. The Minnesota Twins, they'll head north of the board to the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays laying $1.42 plus 120 on the comeback for the Minnesota Twins. You're over under 7.5. Juiced minus 125 to the over, which is pretty surprising considering you got Joe Ryan and Max Scherzer on the hill. Joe Ryan for the Twinkies, 2-3 with a 4.39 ERA over his last 5 starts. He faced Toronto back June 8th earlier this year, going 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 6 strikeouts. Mad Max, one of my favorite pitchers, and for sure should be first ballot Hall of Famer, but the pencil pushers over there at the Hall of Fame, they don't really know what they're doing. But Max Scherzer, just an awesome career, and he's starting to get in playoff form. Let me tell you something. If Mad Max can turn back the clock for 2 months and be the old Max for just 2 months, the Toronto Blue Jays will find themselves in the World Series because Mad Max in his prime is as good as they've ever been. Max over his last 5, 3-2 with a 2.25 ERA. He hasn't faced the Minnesota Twins since 2023. For me, again, Blue Jays minus $1.42. That would be the way you would have to look. It would be Blue Jays or nothing. Phillies, Chris Sanchez, who in my opinion has an argument. I know Wheeler's down, but Sanchez has been just as good and should get some consideration, if not win the Cy Young. I know that's not a popular thing, but when you look at his numbers, Sanchez has been absolutely incredible this season and has just played just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So definitely somebody you would have to look at there and say, hey, that's a guy that deserves to be the Cy Young winner in the MLB. Sorry, here just had one issue, so I had to refresh. So sorry about that, guys. Moving right along. But with Senga and Sanchez laying $1.30 at New York to the Mets. Mets plus 110 with Kota Senga, who's been good himself. Your over-under set at 8, juice minus 115 to the under 8. No play in this one again. Mets have been awful. Phillies have been good, but this is one of those bitter rivalries. I just don't want to get involved because I've been betting on the Mets all year long and they burned me. I don't want to hop against them now and then they just turn out to be world beaters. But the Mets, that pitching staff, especially that bullpen, has been anemic, just absolutely horrible. I want no parts of any game the Mets are in. I know it may sound like a cop-out, but I just got no desire to bet them the rest of the year until we get to the playoffs and look for some good angles. I don't want to bet on them, and I don't want to bet against them. They've just burned me so much. Kansas City Royals, they'll go to Chi-Town. Royals will be laying $1.34 plus 114 on the comeback for the Chicago White Sox. Over under set at 8.5 here. Noah Cameron and the Royals at that short price. I'll go ahead and hop on board. They still got a shot at the wild card. If they want any shot at the wild card, they got to take care of business against the Chicago White Sox. I think Cameron, the Southpaw, will do that. So we'll go with him to get this done for us today. The Arizona Diamondbacks will travel to Milwaukee. Arizona, Edwin Rodriguez, the Southpaw, will get the call. Woodruff for the Brewers, that's been absolutely phenomenal. Brewers laying 184 plus 154 on the comeback for the Diamondbacks. You're over under set at 8, juice minus 110 both ways. Next game on the docket, Pirates at the Cardinals. Cardinals laying $1.30 plus 110 on the comeback for the Pirates. You're over under set at 7.5, juice minus 120 to the over. The pitching matchup for this one for the Pirates. Pirates have taken 6 of the last 10, and they swept this series back first week of July in Pittsburgh. Johan Avedo will get the call, 3-2 with a 5.23 ERA over his last 5 starts. He hasn't faced the Cardinals, though, since 2023. Michael McCreevy, he'll get the call for the Cardinals, 3-2 with a 5.02. He hasn't faced the Pirates at all. Again, I think the Cardinals are a dead team, even though they're only 5.5 out. I would be shocked if they made a run. The Pirates, they struggle to score. To me, it would be Cardinals or nothing, but with these two bad teams, I'll go ahead and take a stay away Angels, they haven't really decided on the pitcher, but Jake DeGrom will for sure get the call for the Rangers. From what I hear and what I've seen so far, it looks like the Angels may go with Soriano, but I don't want to give his stuff out there until that's made official. DeGrom minus $1.74, plus 146 on the comeback at FanDuel for the Los Angeles Angels. Your over-under set at 7.5. Juice minus 115 to the under. These two teams met in July in a 3-game set where the Angels took 2 out of 3. Rangers have taken 6 out of the last 4 against the or 6 out of the last 10 against the Angels. And Jacob DeGrom over his last 5 starts, 1-4 with a 5.32. Really seen him cool off. He was so good earlier in the year, but since has turned around. He's faced the Angels twice this year, lost both of those. Angels won 6-4 back July 28th. The Angels won 6-5 back on July 7th, so he's 0-2 against them. Both games went 5 innings. The last outing, 7 hits, 5 runs, 8 strikeouts. The other performance, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, both earned or all earned. So 5 runs and 3 runs given up for Texas and DeGrom there. Again, on the surface, it looks like DeGrom, but I can't lay $1.74 with a guy where the team has beat him up twice already this year. So it'll be a pass for me. San Diego Padres, coming off that big win to tie the Dodgers, they'll travel to the Seattle Mariners. Mariners laying 126 at FanDuel, plus 108 on the comeback for the Padres. Your over-under set at 8. Juice minus 115 to the over in this one. Mariners have taken 8 out of the last 10 meetings between these two teams. They played a set earlier in May this year in San Diego. Seattle swept them, and Seattle's taken, like I said, 8 of the last 10. J.P. Sears, he'll get the call back up from the minor leagues, 0-1 with a 6.56 ERA over his last 5 starts. When he was with the A's, he saw plenty of the Mariners, faced them twice earlier this year, gave up 2 runs in both outings against the Mariners. But again, lost both of those matchups, did his team. Now, on the flip side, Bryce Miller has been no bargain. 2-3 with a 7.43 ERA. He's on a milk carton missing somewhere. Last year, he did face the Padres at home, going 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, but only 1 strikeout. Again, Sears, no real bargain here. And the Padres, remember I talked about being contrarian coming off of that big win against the Dodgers. If I had to make a play, it would be the Padres at plus money or nothing, but I'm just going to set this one out. I think you could see this game fly over the total of 8.5. Couple 8s hanging around out there. I would look to maybe grab one of those or do like an alternate total. I know FanDuel will let you do some alternate totals that you could put in a parlay with our next victim here, which is the Detroit Tigers on the road against the Sacramento A's. Tigers laying $1.98. It's went down. It was $2.35 last night on the overnight, down to $1.98. Tanner Skubal will go against Ginn. Your over-under set at 9. Comeback plus 166 for the A's. I'm not going to lay $1.98 on the road with the Tigers, but again, and let's just punch it in here and see what we can get. I talked about those alternate win totals that FanDuel has, DraftKings has them. So alternate total runs. Again, the over-under is set at 8.5. There's a couple 8s over there. But if you did the over 6.5 at minus 245, along with the Tigers money line. So Tigers money line, over 6.5 alternate total for the Padres Mariners, it would get you plus 112. So good value there. That might be a way to look at it and attack those for sure. As far as Skubal, when you look at some pitching props for him, I know he's a guy everybody likes to look at. You can look at some strikeout totals. Obviously, 8+ strikeouts, 174. You can get 9+ at plus 106. That's not something I want to get involved in. But again, I do like the Tigers with that alternate total. I do like the Tigers on the money line with maybe a Blue Jays. I think that's something you could look at. So a couple different options there. I would find some ways. Anytime Tanner Skubal is on the bump, you want to look at how you can get some value out of him. So definitely some different ways there. Last game on the board, Cincinnati Reds at the LA Dodgers. Ed Sheehan will get the call. Sheehan, minus 144. Hunter Green, the ace back for the Reds as the Reds trying to make a push. Again, a game and a half back of the Mets, plus 122. You're over-under set at 8. Again, for me, it's pretty simple. Reds or nothing. I'm not playing them, but like I said, it is when you look at it, it's got to be when you're looking at it, Dodgers come off that grueling series. They're deadlocked. The Reds have been playing better. Hunter Green looks back in form. So, again, laying a price with the Dodgers, $1.44 on the road, just doesn't make sense to me. But, hey, again, you can look at that, take for what you want, look at your own handicapping, just giving you some opinions there and a strategy that I use. So, as far as official plays, we'll look to the Baltimore Orioles at about even money as a home dog. We'll look at the Miami Marlins as a almost even money as a home dog. And we'll look at the Kansas City Royals minus $1.24 on the road. Those are the three we're going to go ahead and lock in and make official for our plays for today here on Break the Board Sports. Looking at the NFL, Week 3 preseason finally wraps up. We're going to really start hitting the NFL hard towards the back end of this week. Want to get through college football, and then NFL will get going in full swing. But just want to run down through some lines here in some splits. Cowboys at the Eagles, again, still the Micah Parsons shenanigans. No idea where that's going to fall and how that's going to land. Eagles, 6.5. They're getting 62% of bets, 70% of money. 45.5 is the total. Chiefs at the Chargers. This has crept up over the 3 mark finally at both DraftKings and FanDuel. And I got to tell you, if you want to grab the Chargers, grab that 3.5. 43% of bets and 43% of bets to the Chargers, 57% of bets to the Chiefs. Same exact numbers on the ticket count, both at DraftKings and at Circa there. Pittsburgh Steelers, they'll head to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers will get to go back to New York. And I'm sure him and Aaron Glenn will have a great time at midfield, hugging and laughing it up. Probably not, as that ended pretty tumultuously in that meeting. Steelers laying 3 on the road, 61% of tickets, 78% of money. Again, not going to give any official plays. You can we'll have one free play we give in the NFL. After that, everything is online, breaktheboardsports.com, $64.99 a month, or you can get 365 days a year of plays and betting angles for only $500. But again, just something like I told you, don't lay points on the road. If you love Pittsburgh and you want Pittsburgh, lay the $1.50. There's a couple $1.50s out there, a little higher in some other places. I know DraftKings has hopped up to $1.62, but there's still some 150s offshore and whatnot popping around out there. Dolphins at the Colts. Daniel Jones, new quarterback, savior there in Indy. Not really, but laying 1.5. You're over under 46.5. Right now, as far as the betting total, Colts getting 26% of tickets, Miami getting 74% of tickets, 66% of bets on the Dolphins, 34% of bets on the Colts. Carolina, team that a lot of people are hot on to make a bounce back. I don't know if I'm quite there with the Panthers. I do like the Jaguars, though. You know, you bring Travis Hunter, some other weapons. You get the OC from Tampa coming up to be the head coach. It's now or never for Trevor Lawrence. Jags laying 3, 51% of tickets on the Jags, 49% of tickets on the Panthers. So I don't think you're going to see that line move a whole lot, but we do have 2 weeks before game time. New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. The Giants, that line was at 6.5, was there forever. It's down to 6. A lot of people down on the Giants as they have the toughest schedule in the NFL, but now a lot of trending positive talk about them with the preseason. Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston. For me, it's that defense. That defense is going to be fantastic now that you add Carter. So right now, 42% of tickets the Giants weigh, but 71% of the money for the Giants. Bengals, Browns, this line finally moved. It was stuck at 5.5. It's up to 6 now on DraftKings. Bengals, 75% of tickets, 87% of money, as Joe Burrow will square off against Joe Flacco. Again, be on the lookout for these shorts. Got some very interesting betting trends and betting analysis on this game that I think is going to surprise some people. Joe Burrow, one of my favorite players in the league. Joe Flacco is like 800 years old. But just the way the numbers shake out, Joe Burrow has really struggled against the Browns. We'll get into that here in the next coming week. Raiders at the Patriots. This line was 2.5 forever. It's now went to 3. Patriots laying 3. 56% of tickets are on the Raiders and 57% of the money. Cardinals Saints. This line has moved a half point as well. Cardinals were 5.5 point favorites forever. It's moved to 6 at DraftKings. They're getting 74% of tickets, 92% of the money. Spencer Rattler named the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints instead of going with Tanner Schock. Saints, I don't know what to make of them. I think they're going to be a mess. I think Kyler Murray will have a really big year. I'm not too keen about laying 6 on the road. Again, laying points on the road isn't something I'm going to do. Tampa laying 2.5. They're getting 63% of bets, but only 37% of money. Chris Godwin back, starting to work out. He won't be available week 1, but starting to make some help there for Mike Evans as we get into the season in that one. Looking at the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos, this line has jumped up a little bit, a whole point actually. Denver laying 7.5, getting 73% of tickets, 86% of bets. I hate to say it, I know they're going to be everybody's main pick here on Circa Survivor, but I don't think there's anywhere you can go other than the Denver Broncos. All this hype about the Broncos, if Tennessee and rookie quarterback Cam Ward went in there to Mile High and got a win, it would really make you shake your head. So the Broncos are going to be who I roll with. Please, again, shoot a message here in the comments section. Give us your ideas. Who should be the Circa Survivor and for week 1, and then who should be our 5 Circa Million picks. And then we're also going to do the Average Joe contest there that Beeson has for the Friday Football Invitational, and we'll be trailing behind all those. San Francisco 49ers, 2.5 point favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. They got Brian Robinson, running back from Washington. Not sure why they got him. They need more receiver help than anything. They got Sky Moore earlier in the week, but Sky Moore has caught like 4 passes his whole career for the Chiefs. Niners, 64% of tickets, 83% of money, over under setting at 45.5. Lions at the Packers. Packers laying 1.5. 80% of bets and 74% of money to the Lions' way. So all money, all bets on the Lions, and yet the line hasn't moved. A lot of people think the Lions are going to take a back seat after losing both their coordinators, their Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, to the Bears. I'm not one of those people. I think the Lions are still going to be solid. Texans at the Rams. Rams laying 2.5. They're only getting 42% of tickets, 58% of tickets to the Texans. 73% of the handle on the Texans, only 27% to the Rams. But I think a lot of that has to do with Matthew Stafford and kind of how he's been up and down with his health and with that back. I still think he'll suit up week 1 in that one. Probably the best game of the whole week. Baltimore at Buffalo, going to be a doozy. Buffalo laying 1.5, but 67% of tickets and 61% of the money on the Baltimore Ravens, the home team. 33% of tickets and 39% of the handle on the home team, the Buffalo Bills, laying 1.5. Your over-under in that game right now sets at 51.5 with 81% of the money trended to the over. And then Monday night, 2 teams that are a real enigma and unknown to me. You know, some people you talk to, they could win the division. And then other people, they're going to be in the basement. The Vikings and Bears are in the same boat. We don't really know. Vikings came off a great year last year, but they don't have Justin Jefferson to an injury. They don't have Addison the first couple games. McCarthy's getting his first start. J.J. McCarthy's getting his first start of his NFL career on Monday Night Football in Soldier Field. The Bears, Caleb Williams, they got weapons. Defense is solid, but Caleb Williams hasn't played well. Now they bring in head coach Ben Johnson. So this thing's going to be really, really interesting. And the line keeps flipping around one way to the other. Right now, the Vikings are holding a 1.5 point favorite. They're getting 45% of the tickets compared to 55% for the Chicago Bears. 53% of the handle to the Vikings compared to 47% of the handle there. And then your over-under is set at 43.5 with all the money pouring in on the under. 84% of the handle to the under, 16% of the handle to the over. So definitely a huge discrepancy there. Again, through FanDuel, you can do some future parlays. to make the playoffs. 4-teamer here for you. Plus 470, a good future in pocket. We're going to take the Bills, the Ravens, the 49ers, and the Steelers. Plus 470, double unit. I like all four of those teams to make the playoffs. You got two high-juiced ones there with the Bills and Ravens, but again, just looking for a winner there. So again, Bills, Ravens, 49ers, Steelers. Take them to make the playoffs at FanDuel at plus 470. All right, so to kind of give a look ahead for the week, we got a couple of NFL season previews, but the big thing is going to be college football week 1. It's here. Looking for a great weekend in college football. We'll have 5 plays we give out. Again, you can go breaktheboardsports.com, get all of our plays, but for free, you can go up and get all the notes on every single game. Quick hitter notes. It's not paragraphs or nothing to read. It's just bullet points, one line to help you become a better handicapper. This show's all about information helping you become a better handicapper. If you want to get on board and say, yes, I want to get 100 plus units a year, not a problem. Sign up. You can get our yearly 365 day package. NFL, college, MLB playoffs, hockey, and NBA will be here before you know it, along with college hoops. You can get that for $500, or you can go $64.99 if you just want to be about football. Again, that's at breaktheboardsports.com. You can also click a like down there at the bottom for us and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with a couple shorts for you, breaking down college football, and look for those notes again at breaktheboardsports.com. Appreciate all the support. God bless and happy winning.